This is Sad Boy Radio.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Sad Boy Radio. This is your host, Matt, and today I got another DJ. His name is DJ Mayhem. Go ahead and give them a little introduction, bro.
What's good, y'all? Thanks for listening. My name is DJ Mayhem. My real name is Martin Arredondo. I've been DJing now for about 10 years. Open format style DJ. Love house, hip hop, and Latin jams.
Yeah, there you go. That's the basic summary. You're definitely going to get to know more about him. It's funny as hell because I was at the beach the other day. I ran into an older dude that knew you, and I was like, yeah, DJ Mayhem. He's like, oh, you mean Martin? I'm like, I didn't even know his real name, bro.
Yeah. Fun fact, I always introduce myself by Martin or Martin, never like by Mayhem. I just feel like, every DJ that I've always looked up to, every time I met them, they introduce themselves by their real name. So I felt like that says a lot about their character.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it demonstrates like how humble they are still, because I guess in a sense, if you're always introducing yourself by your stage name, then people are going to be like, oh, he has a big ego, right? Yeah. But it's also good because at least when you're first starting out, I guess you've been doing it 10 years. So when you're first starting out, you want to, get your name out there. It's just like any rapper, rappers will do a show and then right before they close, they'll be like, my name's so-and-so and hope you enjoyed the show.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own. I just feel like some DJs, they got lucky with the idea of that, like their DJ name is their real name. So like that's cool, So all power to them. But like I've just replaying it back into my head, like introducing myself as Mayhem just sounds so aggressive.
All right, so then how'd you choose Mayhem, bro?
There's a lot of DJs I used to look up to or listen to. There's like this one guy named Bad Boy Bill or Ralphie Rockin' Rosario. There's a lot of alliteration in their names. So I was like, what goes with Martin? And I was like, Martin Mixon. And I was like, nah, Martin Mayhem. And then I was like, Martin Mixon Mayhem. And then I was just like, nah, I'll just do Mayhem. And then so I would like do DJ Mayhem, but then recently I just was like, no, I'll just do Mayhem because it sounds like more clean and like it fits more of the brand and like the image that I want for myself. Like I like the slogan, like what's a party without mayhem was something I thought of, like, because, that's what I want every gig I do or party to be, just like a dope, fun party where people have a good time, because that's a lot about why I DJ and why I love what I do is because I like to make other people feel good with the music that I play.
Yeah, like you said, what's a party without mayhem, right? But you don't want people getting crazy. You don't want them blowing some shit up. No, but yeah, that's dope, bro. Today I wanted to talk about, living in the moment. I think it's pretty fitting for you considering, you're a DJ. You basically live that nightlife, and it's kind of hard for you to find time to reminisce but also look towards the future, right? Obviously, you're going to be doing that. As a human, we all do that. But a lot of the time when you're living life kind of day to day, planning out your events, there's really just that time to live in the moment, right? So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I definitely feel that I always do my best to try to be present, like especially right now in this interview. I'm happy that I could turn my phone off and just be here in the moment, but it is also challenging to live life fast paced, just always on the go or always doing something. Like I just came back from Mexico and, a day later I have 2 gigs. So, and then, 2 more gigs tomorrow and then gigs on the weekend. And then it's like, when do you sleep? When do you rest? You kind of just are living in the moment. But at the same time, it's a thrilling experience because nothing else makes me feel more alive. And I really I've worked a corporate job where like it was super monotonous and, you just always feel like what's coming next or, you're around people who sometimes aren't always like in the best moods and they can't really do anything to control their faith or like their future. So in a way, I like living my life in the moment because I am alive almost every day. And it's like, how many times do people do things that make them come alive?
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. I don't know. I feel like lately I've been going through a lot. So just thinking about that, right? Doing anything that makes you happy in the moment, right? Because like you said, there's a lot of people who just go to their 9 to 5, they can't control a lot of what's going on in their life. So I like to think of it as taking advantage for the people who don't, right? Because you only live once for real, and that phrase has really hit home lately for me. So just being able to take advantage of every day, every situation, and enjoying it. Uh, like I was just telling you, right? There's so many people going through so many different things, and someone's world could be falling apart, and they just gotta act like everything's normal. Even us, right? Something can be going on, but we still gotta keep going, and it's I don't know, man. It's just such a tough situation that at the end of the day, I really do want to emphasize that you got to live in the moment. That's really important in life. The other question I did have for you though was, if you could change it, would you? The DJ nightlife.
Yeah, so first to your first point, you hit 100%, and we were talking about this earlier. It's just like you never know what people are going through. Even like as an artist or like as a performer, you could be having a bad day, but you still are expected to just go out there and perform. So, like you said, keeping your world together even when it's falling apart is always a challenge, and you should always just like, that's why I try to practice gratitude and just being thankful about the positives in my life and focusing on those instead of, dwelling on what I can't control or like what's negative, because those things only serve to bring you down. And instead of like focusing on like, okay, these are the positives, not always being like happy, but just like, trying your best to, focus on the good rather than the bad. But to your point, I don't think I would change it because DJing has given me so many experiences in my life that I don't think I would have had without them. That's not to say that I wouldn't have lived a good life. It's just that I've really enjoyed the experiences I've gotten, traveling, getting to know people, experiencing just life in a way that most people don't ever get to.
For sure, man. What's one of your favorite memories from DJing?
I would say just this past recent week when I DJ'd in Mexico. I got to DJ a rooftop club bar for 2 nights, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday I did my good friend Daniel's wedding. That was such an awesome experience because not only did I DJ like internationally, I got to experience a whole nother different culture and like realize that the music I know here is only one part of the world. So like there's other parts of the world to learn their music, like their bangers. Like listening to regional music there was like, oh man, like I never even heard this song. I wonder if it would pop off here.
So how was that? How was that, man? How did you like even prepare for that?
Yeah, I really just did what like I knew how to do, So I knew that they liked like reggaeton and like EDM and so I just did that, and it worked well. Like I got a lot of compliments. People were dancing the whole time, and it was just like sharing music with another DJ too. That was dope. But really, yeah, just trusting yourself, man, and like reading the room. I've gotten to the point now where like I still prep for some sets, to try new ideas or like new music, but for the same time, I also know what works, and like just always challenging myself to keep reading a room and trying to just do the best job that I can.
Another good point is you have a side. Well, you have your main job, and you said DJing's your side job, right?
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the song from Drake, "Light Up," where where he says, where is it? I've been up for 4 days getting money both ways. You know the song, dirty and clean. So talk about that, bro. It's kind of like a double life for you.
Yeah, so I also work as a financial advisor. I have my Series 7, 66, Life and Health. I got the licenses actually during the lockdowns and COVID, and I've been working in the field ever since. I love what I do because I get to help people also in another way on a daily basis. Being first generation Latino, nobody is there to help you with financial literacy. So being able to be a resource for my community, especially since I speak Spanish, is very rewarding. And just knowing that like I can make a positive impact in people's lives in two ways, through nightlife and making people have the time of their lives, and through retirement planning and wealth management. Like as boring as it is, things like life insurance, retirement, all those things are important. And so it's like I have like my fun side, but I still have my professionalism. And I think like just the work hard, play hard mantra has always been who I am, and like especially at U of I. So that's kind of where I learned how to live life like that.
Facts. Yeah. So I know we said we were gonna talk about living in the moment, but what would be your end goal for those two? At the end of the day, how do you hope the careers either or both pan out?
Yeah, so ideally I could be a financial advisor that gets to just build up their book and travel. So like the idea would be that I get to play in a different city and stay there Friday through Sunday, and then just come back to Chicago or to wherever home is during the week. Because the reality is that once I have a decent book of business and that I have just clients who I work with and trust, then I'll be available anywhere, just because of the COVID pandemic taught us anything is just how far technology has gotten us and how everything could be done remote.
All those tax people, shout out to them. Finessing people, man. I'm not even gonna get into that. No, but yeah, man. Man, you've done a lot. So you did go to school. We're DJing over there 10 years. It's been about. So you literally started from the bottom. You want to talk about the beginnings of DJ Mayhem?
Yeah, so I grew up on the southwest side in a La Villita neighborhood. I had a single mom. My dad passed away when I was 2, so it was just us two growing up. But I think that taught me a lot about never making excuses and always just believing in myself. Having to overcome adversity my whole life definitely just taught me never to take no for an answer and to always believe in myself.
You were talking about a little bit before we hopped on camera. You were talking about how you started in your mom's attic, playing shows or throwing little parties. So tell the audience about that.
Yeah, so my first DJ equipment I ever bought was like 2 CDJs and a DJM 600 mixer. So the way I did it was I worked the whole summer to save up for it. Like my mom didn't buy it for me, so like my idea was that if I save up for it and buy it, then I'll stick to it and I'll commit to it. And sure enough, that's what happened. So I saved like $1,700, which at 16 is like a lot of money. I mean, it's still a lot of money. So I saved that up. I bought the stuff. I still remember how happy I was that day I bought the equipment. I was like, oh man, this is so awesome. And then I just started ripping CDs and started practicing, and the rest is history. I remember my first gig was my friend's, her name is Jackie. She lived like 4 houses down, and like we took all my stuff and like my ghetto speakers to her little attic, and we just partied there. And that was like where I got started.
No, man. I know you were scared that equipment was going to get fucked up on the way there, bro.
Yeah, to be honest, a bunch of high schoolers drinking, like, it's not good. But we had good times.
You're wild for that, bro. Yeah, not us, not here. I'll bet you Vic doesn't even want to take those speakers out of this room.
Yeah, definitely like that now. Like, I have, like, some legit equipment at home that does not leave my studio.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I'm like that now,
So, you're a DJ. Do you do anything on, like, else with music, produce, any type of stuff like that?
No, not yet, but I've been thinking a lot about it lately, especially, like, producing. Maybe just get started with, like, what are called edits. So our edits are, like, you can use a program like Ableton to basically cut a song in half, make a mashup or, a transition or just something creative with the music, and then go from there. But I do feel that I have a good ear for music. Like I can listen to a song and be like, I know this is gonna be a hit, or like I know that this is gonna chart or something, and like sure enough, it does. Like I remember the first day I listened to "That's What I Like," I was like, this is gonna be a banger, and it ended up winning Song of the Year that year.
By which one?
Bruno Mars.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I got confused with Cardi B and Bruno Mars, bro. I like it, and that's what I like. What other songs did you know were gonna blow up, bro?
I Hotline Bling. I remember the first day I listened to that.
Yeah. You were draking back then.
I've always said.
Yeah, Sad Boy. Hey, that's why we got him on Sad Boy Radio.
No, actually, that was like emo music was my jams growing up in 8th grade. So
emo rock.
Yeah, like Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, like who else? Cartel. What else? My Chemical Romance.
Do you still listen to that type of music?
Always, man. What do you think I was listening to on the way here, man? Nah, to be honest, so that's the one thing. I definitely listen to other types of music besides the music that I play in the car, because otherwise, I can't listen to that stuff 24/7.
Oh, yeah. Every time I hop back in the whip with my homies, after the club, someone will be playing Spanish music, and they're like, bro, we just listened to this for like 4 straight hours. Like, put on some other shit. But, yeah, my homie's getting tired of the Latin clubs, bro. He wants to start going to, like, Play. He thinks that Play plays more rap music. He's from Maryland. So he's like, bro, show me the spots that play rap music. And we're like, if we go there, like I don't know, bro. He's a little too much sometimes. So I'm not trying to get into any fights.
Yeah, well, I will say that, hip hop clubs are always dope and they're always fun. So it's just about finding the one that fits like your scene and what you want.
So go ahead and let the audience know, what type of clubs you're playing, just so they can pop out too.
Yeah, so I play at number 9, which is next to Prism nightclub. I work at Tunnel, Hubbard Inn. Hopefully, going to be start playing at Underground next month. Playing at Electric Hotel tonight. Hubbard Inn on Sundays, and we're gonna just play more spots.
Yeah, make sure you go check them out, bro. So I'm the type of person who overthinks everything, bro. It kind of prevents me from living in the moment, right? Because every day I kind of wake up and I get a memory from like the past, or I got to think about what I'm going to do next, right? And that's like one of the most frustrating things for me because when things start to pile up, I get really like overwhelmed. So then I just go to sleep, or like I'll be like, no, I'm not doing any of this. So I like to think of it as like breaking it down step by step. I remember when I was still in high school, I was taking college classes, and we had to write an 8-page paper, and the professor was like, you don't eat a elephant all at once, you like do it bite by bite. So I haven't even thought about that until just now, but it really is like the truth, right? Because at the end of the day, like everybody's always thinking about something, right? You gotta just, like I said, keep moving forward, keep going about life, but also fulfill your commitments. um I think that's one of the things that I was taught from an early age from my cousin, because I bailed on him. I flaked. I was in like 5th grade, bro, and he's like, "Oh, man never breaks his word." And after that, that just stuck with me. I even wrote a paper on it, trying to get a scholarship. Fuck the people that didn't give me the scholarship, but
You're still here.
yeah, we still here. But man, it just really was like a moment that resonated with me. It's funny because they tried to make me change the story when I wrote the paper, because they were like, "Oh, saying a man never breaks his word is non-inclusive." So they're like, "You should change it to a person never breaks their word." And I'm like, "But that's not the story. Like the story isn't a person never breaks his word, because from my cousin's perspective, as a man, you don't break your word when you give it to somebody." And that's the lesson he was trying to teach me, that once you commit, you commit, and that does stop you from living in the moment in a sense.
Yeah, so there's a lot to unpack there. I mean, first of all, I know that, with overthinking or being present in the moment, sometimes people will not actually listen and instead just wait for their turn to talk. So practicing mindfulness and like actually listening to people is one way that I combat like overthinking. Is just like if you just shut your brain off or try to and actually listen to the other person, then you can like that's one way of being mindful and stopping that. But I think at the same time, I know I'm guilty of overthinking, worrying especially. I think it's human, but worrying doesn't solve anything, so there's no point in doing it. It's kind of just like, we're our own biggest enemy in that sense. But sometimes I feel also think that overthinking helps us in thinking about different scenarios and ways it could play out. That's why like we were talking about earlier about giving people the benefit of the doubt. Is like I try to be objective in situations and really understand both parties' perspective before like coming to a decision, whereas sometimes people might jump to conclusions. So I think overthinking helps with that. And and I guess to the last point is like, as someone who didn't grow up with a male role model, I had to find mentors, and I had a lot of mentors in my life. So if somebody who was like a male figure to me said, a man never breaks his word, it's not that men or women can't break their word, and that's a good character trait to have. It's just that for like it sounds like for you in that moment, it sounded like it was a learning point for like what a man should be, as a male.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. And that, everybody's gonna have a bunch of different mentors in life. To your point, the earlier point, there's a lot of songs that talk about that. Listening but not hearing, right? A lot of people will just sit there and listen to you, but they're not actually hearing what you're saying. And that's a really frustrating part, because why am I discussing certain things with you, or why am I pouring everything that I have to say out to you when you're not really giving the effort to understand, right? And I think everybody can relate to that, you know.
Yeah, especially too now. Like I hate seeing like people on on dates on their phones. Like I make that a point to like put my phone away. Like it doesn't matter how long you've been with the person. It's like you should always try to give somebody the respect. I know that when I went to Mexico, I had my phone off most of the time, and it was nice just because like I got to be present with the people I was with. So being disconnected for a bit is nice.
I'm guilty of that, bro. I'm always on my phone. And it's not because like I don't enjoy talking to the people that I'm around. It's more so like I get a fear of missing out all the time, bro. So I'm always scared that I'm going to miss something, like somebody's going to hit me up. Nobody's hitting me up like that. Somebody's going to hit me up and be like, "Yo, where you at? Let's go do this." And I'm just going to be like, "Damn, it's an hour later. My bad. I'll get back to you next time." That fear of missing out, it really, really is I guess a point I should work on. So what do you think is like the best way to stay focused on something?
Um, I think, first of all, is really just like I said again, practicing mindfulness and like being present in the moment, however difficult it can be to be. Understanding that today is, the time that we have. So, learning to also just be comfortable alone is, I think, a important thing. And I don't mean that like in a negative way. I mean it in a way of like, like you'll always see those pictures of Keanu Reeves like taking himself out to dinner, but it's like, how well do you really know yourself, and like how comfortable are you in your own skin and in your own head? That's what like mental health is all about, is just being comfortable with yourself and happy and positive and talking to yourself in a healthy way, so that if like you don't ever have this anxiety of missing out on anything because you're just comfortable being by yourself.
For sure. Yeah, no, that's actually a point that we've made earlier on in a different episode where I asked another homie. I asked him, "Who are you when you're alone, and do you feel comfortable with that person?" Right? Because a lot of the time I do think about it. I'm like, okay, who am I when I'm alone? I'm not a bad person. I could be better, but I'm not like a terrible person, right? And that's something I do practice. What you were saying, being mindful of what you say about yourself, right? So when I'm in a situation where I'm like, damn, this shit sucks, I don't be like, damn, I hate myself, or damn, this shit sucks. I'm just like, all right, it could be worse, right? Because there's always a moment in your life where it could be worse. I don't know, man. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen to you, right? Probably getting sick or some shit. Um, I don't know. I guess in a moment like that, you'd have to really think about it. Like, damn, it could be worse too, right?
Yeah, I think you should always allow yourself to feel, so you don't always have to put a positive spin on anything. Like, I know when I broke up with my girlfriend, like it sucked, or like when I had family passed away, it sucked, and you're allowed to feel sad in those moments, and I think it's healthy to process them. However, it's like in moments where like you make a mistake and saying like, "Oh, I'm an idiot," like yeah, you might just say it like it's a joke, but like if you keep saying those things, sometimes you might end up believing it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Also, like, one fun fact about me was like I was really overweight when I was younger. I used to weigh like 280 pounds when I was 13, and I was like 5'4", so like I was a big guy. And in losing all the weight, I definitely just had to start talking to myself in a more positive way, since I had to get comfortable in my new body and just like the new like attention, and like being treated differently and all those things. Like it also like just changed my perspective on life, like being like bigger and like being bullied, and versus like being like athletic and like playing sports was like just two different ways people treated you. And like it's almost like once you've seen people, how people can be, you almost like, one, like you can't ever go back, I feel, but two, it's like it helps you like try to be a better person, because you understand how bad people can make you feel.
I just thought about the Beauty and the Beast, right? How in the movie, the what is it? The Beast, he's a mean guy to the lady at first because he just thought she was some poor lady that was asking for money, and then he finds out she's this enchantress that's gonna help him or save him or give him a curse. And it's like you really are, you like we talked about, you only understand someone's situation when you kind of want something from them, or when you know that they can do something to you, right? Because at the end of the day, like you said, people will treat you differently from how you look, who you are, and only what they see, judging a book by its cover.
Yeah.
All right, bro. So we're definitely it's been a really good conversation. I know you got some places to be. You got your gig tonight. So to close out the show, we always talk about the sentimental item. So go ahead and let the audience know what yours is.
Yeah, so I got this chain, pretty basic, but so this anchor used to belong to my dad, and like I mentioned, he passed away when I was 2 from a stroke, and the chain was a gift for my mom to him. So I remember when I was about like in high school, my mom gave this to me and was like, "Oh, this belonged to your dad," and so this is the actual only item I have that belonged to him that I now own. And while I don't wear like the anchor, I always wear the chain, especially before a gig, just because it reminds me of like my dad and reminds me of like I have a family who loves and supports me, even if both of them aren't here. And yeah, just also thankful that like I had a family who loves me, and just reminds me to stay grounded. That like no matter how bright the limelight gets, is to just like stay true to who you are and stay true to where you come from, because the world will always try to give you distractions or try to make you someone that you're not. And like it's like we said, who can you be when nobody's watching is really who you are.
Yeah, man, that's such an important point. I think about that a lot, when I'm out here, just out and about. I sometimes think, I'm like, man, I have a family that loves me at the end of the day, and I hope that I make them proud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those feelings that just hits you, and if you know, right? Yeah. But thanks, bro. I really appreciate you hopping on. It was a really good talk. We could definitely do this again, but yeah, that's it. That's it for today.
Yeah, I want to say thank you for having me, and thank you to anybody who listens. Like with my DJ mixes or with anything, I always appreciate people supporting me, as I'm sure you do, because ultimately it feels nice that people see the results of what you do, and at the same time you get to share things like this and this content with people. So thank you to anybody who listens.
For sure. Thank you, guys. That's it for Sad Boy Radio. Go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.
Peace.
This is Sad Boy Radio.